Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today we're going to do part 4 of our city station build. Well, welcome to part 4, and as is fast becoming tradition, we'll do some amendments at the beginning. The first of which was just a very simple one, swapping around this white pane with the advertising on with this clear one, because I'd swapped around the insides of the shop, and this one was looking basically at the back of the paper rack, which didn't look so great as having a nice open one on this side. So the reasoning actually stays the same, but it was arguably part of the amendment from last week that didn't get made. So that's good, and we can still see that through the sliding door. So I like that one a lot. Another one was just putting in a slight change around here, so there wasn't an indentation for these tiles. I did have this being a 10 long set of tiles to link to these bits for a bit of structural integrity, but I mean that's not going anywhere, so I could actually use normal tiles right up to the edge of this sign to avoid that sort of half stud gap that resulted from the jumper plate. So that's a little bit better as well. Good, good. Now, one thing I haven't changed is the stairwell. Now, I got a lot of comments about that, suggesting the rain would go in and start flooding the ground floor and all the rest of it. And yeah, I guess that's true. In a real world situation, if this were a real building, that would be a bit of a mistake. And I think if this were a real building, the stairwell would be part of this sort of central built up structure and would pop out someone in there. But the thing is, we need all that space for our bar and tables and so on. So I did move it to one side. And I think if I do start putting a roof on or clear panel pieces or all sorts, we'll lose this really nice open looking sort of veranda on both sides, which is mirrored. So I'm not 100% happy with it. I'll agree with you, but I'm not going to change it. So there we go. Now, another change I want to make to the outside is to add a coffee chain shack. So this is one of those coffee huts that's available from set 60097 City Square. And I've added as its vendor Larry the Barista, who's actually a character from the Lego Movie minifigure series. And he's got the wonderful coffee cup with that logo of the coffee chain. So it's all tied in perfectly. So I like that a great deal. And I've also added this extra 3D sign of a coffee cup with sort of steaming foam or crema or whatever you want to call that. So I thought that would go somewhere around here. We can't block this bit because basically that is the pedestrian walkway over the tracks. So this is the edge of the platform, obviously, and it is right next to that. So we can't have this jutting out into that too much, but to stop it from looking absolutely too flat, I think I will have it coming out about 1. So I'm thinking of putting that there, just so it juts out a little bit. And then in the space next to it, I thought I'd add a bin and recycling bin. Probably there. And I won't forget their lids, because the lid has the recycling sign on it as well. And plain one for the normal bin. And I'll tile in this area in between in light bluish grey, so it looks appropriate. But yeah, there we go. So now it looks like even more a built-up area, because we've got 2 establishments that you probably need to visit before getting on your train. Now, another thing that was suggested last time was amending this logo built into the stonework on the top here. And at the moment you can see it's done in yellow, and it's a round 1x1 plate and 2 modified plates with clips. Now, one suggestion was to change it to red, so it kind of fit in with this, because it's weird that it actually, and it wasn't intended to be by design, but it actually looks quite a lot like our train symbol. So one idea was to do something along the lines of this with red ones. I've only got 1 pair, so I can't do front and back, but I was trying to decide if that actually looked better or worse. And I don't know, part of me thinks it looks worse, especially if you put a red circle in between it as well. I don't know. Tell me what you think. And then another alternative is to get rid of these clips entirely and replace them with these pieces, which are the 1x1 modified plate with kind of tooth on it. Now you can't do those in yellow because that piece doesn't exist. You can have these sort of flamish yellow-orange, but I've tried that and it really doesn't work. So does that look even more like this logo? Sort of done in stone? And does it look good in red? I don't know, I think it stands out a bit too much. So I think I'm going to revert back to the yellow, but if you, just throw that away, but if you disagree en masse, and you all think it looks a lot better, do tell me which one you prefer in red. Option 1 being the clip, option 2 being the bit with tooth, and option 3, I guess, is staying exactly as we were, which I think is the one I'm going for. Now the last thing to do round the front while we're here, pop that taxi back, is to add the car of the day. And you'll remember that in part 1 we added the taxi from set 60050, and in part 2 we added the taxi from set 60050, and then in part 3 we added the taxi from set 60050 with its driver out talking to a fellow driver. Well, what better to add this time than, the taxi from set 60050. And this one again has a unique plate, so they're all different, and this one has picked up a passenger, and they've even got their suitcase in the storage area at the back, so that can be one driving off. So there we go, 4 taxis. Now they don't have to all stay at the station all the time with all this yellow going on, which will be diluted massively when this is in the situation and we've got fast food corner over here, the tram up there, and other stuff all over here, the big level crossing and so on. But they can be going all around the city, but I'll probably have about 2 sort of here waiting at any one time to pick up passengers. Right, so let's flip this and start doing today's work. And as for changes on the back, somebody suggested I get rid of the yellow coloured sort of retro jet pieces that act as the loudspeakers and replace them with a different colour. Well, the only other colour I had was light bluish grey, but I do agree that looks a bit better because they stand out a bit more, don't they, rather than being in the yellow that everything else is in. So that was a good tip. And then the clock was another one. People suggested that maybe I should make it two-faced, so it could be seen from people up and down the platform as opposed to only head on. And that does seem like a good idea. But even better than that, I thought I'd make it have 3 directions, because I have that clock piece 3 times, so if I get them all straight. See, 1, 2, 3, like that. So if I put this 2x2 jumper plate on, and then I can attach this onto that. There we go. So hopefully you agree that that is an improvement there as well, in that it's got all 3 faces showing. It's a bit 3D now, but you can still see the city station sign. So yeah, I think I'm happy with that as well. Right, so now we can lift off the very top and even lift off this floor, put all this to one side because I'm going to do the bar and seating next. So the first thing to do to fill the upstairs is the bar, and I'm going to have that on this wall, which is kind of the front of the station, but the back wall from the perspective we're looking at, and that's just because it's recessed by a little bit, so there's a bit more space for it. So I don't want to do anything absolutely crazy because it's not going to be in full view at all times, but just to give the idea of a kind of a bit of a swish sort of high-end bar. So I'm going to do it in bright colours. So I've got this first sort of fridge layer with some panel pieces and some fridges. all mounted on dark bluish grey plates. And then as a sort of backdrop, I have one of those fence pieces because they kind of have that lattice work at the back of some bars, don't they? And then if I put some jumper plates and some telescope pieces. And while I'm here, I'll just put a spare cocktail glass on the bar. So that's that. Then for the next bit, got all this. So I'm just going to make a sort of raised bar bit out of all these pieces. I'm going to use lots of these horizontal clips in order to mount the bottles so they can all be sort of hanging as if on optics. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then upside down bottles, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can just have that like that. So yeah, not over the top, but still in the Lego style. And oh, I actually misplaced that. It should be in line. So on the half, there we go. So it's like that. Yeah, like that. So I can put that right at the back in the middle. I won't push it down fully because I don't want things catapulting anywhere. And then for the front of the bar, even more simple really. I thought I'd have some of these rung pieces because you kind of have a rung on the bottom of a bar to put your feet on while you're waiting. And a brick. And then for a bit more texture, these plates with the slide type groove. So it looks like that. And then on the top, I can have a combination of tiles and jumper plates. So that's the front bar, and that will go about there, or maybe one in. Don't know, we'll see how much room we've got. So that's like that. Then all I need is some stuff for in between the two bars, the back bar and the front bar. And I thought this guy could be our mixologist, just because he's in kind of a natty red shirt that goes with our bar and a black jacket, which is very smart. And I thought I'd have him with a mixer. What are they called? Well, they're just mixers, aren't they? The sort of, oh, it's a shaker, isn't it? A cocktail shaker. So I thought I'd give him a 1x1 round tile to represent the lid and the cone to represent him holding the neck of the shaker itself. And then he could be pouring into a glass. So that might be a bit near. I don't know. See how that looks. And then we'll have a glass, cocktail glass with a cherry in it as a garnish. That's all a bit too near really, isn't it? Bring that out one. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So he's making that cocktail. Maybe I'll move him so he's not quite so hidden. It might need a bit of rearranging rather than doing it all live. But you get the idea. Maybe that should be less tipped. Okay, and then I thought that he could have a bowl of fruit for all his cocktails. I've got banana, pink cherry, a green cherry. I don't think we're going to be able to fit an apple in, so I'll leave that out. But there we go. There's some fruit in a big bowl over this side. So there he is. And again, we've got a lot of good colours in there. I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to do some tables on the outside and people enjoying their cocktails. And what I'm going to use for the tables is just one of these kind of, well, it's almost like a spaceship landing leg, I always think. And then for a table where we want something on, we can add a sort of round tile with a stud. And for one where we don't want something on, we can just add a round tile. It just means that some tables can take an item and some others won't. So I've got 3 tables. And for the chairs, I'm just going to have a normal chair, but on a 1x1 round brick. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. and then I'll add some people and some scenes. Okay, so there's the bar pushed down, slightly adjusted him, but it looks pretty good, I think. Happily making another cocktail for all the posh, glamorous guests. Got a lady over here having a cocktail with a green cherry in, obviously waiting for somebody, or maybe just enjoying herself on her own. And then we've got a nice couple here who are dressed up to the nines, him in a wonderful suit, and her in a wonderful headdress and makeup. She's actually the Series 5 Egyptian Queen minifigure with white legs replacing her sort of skirt piece, so she can sit down. But I think she looks very in keeping there and not too Egyptian. So that's all good. So I can put the roof back on there. But before I do, I'm just going to add a train spotter. It's a young lady with glasses and a camera and a clipboard, or rather a spiral pad, who can be here using the vantage point of this spot in order to spot trains. And incidentally, when I was actually at real life Nottingham station recently, in order to just do a very short sort of 10-second video of the tram crossing over the top of all the platforms for the trains, and that was part of my tramline video, a genuine real-life train spotter almost thought I was another train spotter with my camera out, and came next to me and started having a very loud conversation on a telephone to make it clear that he was a train spotter as well. Almost like a "would I like to be friends" sort of thing. Anyway, yeah, I didn't join in. There we go. Oh, and then that can go on top. Ooh, like, what have we hit? Oh, one of the cones at the back. There we are, like that. So we've got the nice outside area, because I think it's summer in Brick Nottingham. Perhaps summer all the time, I don't know. Otherwise the beach is going to be empty. And then there's the barman on the inside with all of his wonderful fruit. Looking good. So I think we need to put that on top of the other bit. And then we can sort out the other platforms, and maybe get onto the overpass as well. Okay, moment of truth. There we go. Yeah, looking good. I think these speakers in a different colour and this three-faced clock look really good. And it's great to have some life on the top. Maybe I need somebody about here going down or coming up the stairs to make it a bit more balanced. But apart from that, I'm very happy. Right, I think we need to make the second platform, because without a second platform, we're going to have nothing to link together. Right, so I've done 2 more platforms, one for in the middle of the 2 tracks and one for the far side near the beach, or the near side as you might see it from our usual standing hole. Anyway, these platforms are slightly longer than the one that's on the station building side, and that's just because on that side there's going to be fast food corner essentially. So the other platform stops about here, but these will be a little bit longer because I want to get as much length in as possible, because with ridiculously long trains, you want to have as much lining up with the station as possible, though in reality they're going to pop out of both ends at the same time by quite a way. I've also kept going with the profile bricks that hopefully are all going the same way on the sides, and indeed these numbered 10 and 5 printed bricks as well. And for the middle one, I've got that on both sides. And for this one, I've just got it on this side, because that will be the side behind the row of modulars outside the station. So it only need be where there are actual tracks. Now, some people, train purists, won't like the fact that I've got a central platform as well as one on each side, because of the fact that with only 2 lines, you only really need 2 platforms, don't you? One on each side. You never get on a train from both sides at the same time. But I think it's a good idea because it sort of gives the illusion of a slightly bigger station if we've got more than one platform, or rather more than two platforms. So what I'm going to do is call the one with the station on platform 1 and then have this as platform 2, 3 and 4. So it kind of gives the impression we've got a big station with 4 platforms rather than just 1 and 2, which would be a lot smaller feeling. Good, so I've got my platforms being 8 studs wide, and that means they've got this sort of overhang on each side, which sort of feels about right. And that still leaves 8 studs for the trains in between the platforms, which is plenty if they're on a straight. And it means it'll be a bit closer than you often get with Lego set stations, which seem to give a lot more clearance for the train. Now, a lot of you will have noticed that I've left a big space here, and that's because I want to put in one of my subway stops. And this is the bit above ground, which I've done several times before, so I needn't run through how I do that, but it's got the usual 2 signs on, one above and one below ground, and effectively that's going to kind of sit like that and provide access to the underground system from the train, because we want this to be a real transport hub. And I want this to be a 3D stop, but I don't have as much depth to play with as I did when I did the 3D station, or rather 3D entrance in the Old Market Square, because there I had a depth of 5 to play with, whereas here I've only got a depth of 3, but the principle remains the same. And I will be doing some other recess stops elsewhere in my city, and they'll be either 5 deep or 6 deep or something. I think I'm going to do one near the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sewer lair, and that'll be 6 deep. So they'll all be slightly different, but following the same pattern. So this is the stair setup that I'm going to use, and it's using the different tread plate tiles, but this time we've got one in the sort of silvery colour with the light bluish grey tile, one with that sort of medium sort of dull grey tread plate but with the dark bluish grey tile, and then one with this really sort of dark tread plate sticker on a dark bluish grey tile. So it gives the impression already, just vertically from above, that you're going down the steps into the darkness, just because you've got 3 different colours there. And that's accentuated by the fact that the top step is also light bluish grey, and then dark bluish grey, and then the plate at the bottom black. So that basically just slots underneath here, so it will attach straight to the base plate, the green base plates that we've got in that area, and go like that. So that's completely the same depth. See, it just looks like that on the underside, like that from the top. And then like the other ones, the top step, we can add a 2x4 tread plate step that will kind of link us from the depths to the surface. So I think that looks pretty good and does still have that illusion of depth that we achieved on the previous ones. So that's very good. And then we can continue building the platform around the outsides of this with a few more pieces. Looks good. And then the last piece will be the above ground entrance bit itself. Now, if we do tile these platforms, which I'm still not certain if I'm going to do or not, I'll raise the 3-coloured toothpaste stripe, or Dutch stripe as the Dutch like to call it, by 1 plate in light bluish grey as well. Otherwise we'll lose the blue layer as it sort of gets buried by tiles. But I think for a starting position, that looks pretty good as a subway stop. Very good. So the only thing really to do is to add somebody. So here's Jack from the hidden side. I've got a few of him, so maybe I'll change his expression because he's looking a bit scared there, isn't he? That looks a bit more like somebody who's getting off the subway, doesn't it? Rather than somebody who's had a very, very, very bad experience on the subway. And I thought I'd just put him in there. Ooh, am I going to be able to reach? It's very tight. Yep. There we go. Because then you'll be able to see him and his nice cap and his hoodie coming out of the depths. And I think that is probably the best bit about these 3D steps and stairs and all the rest of it, is the fact that you can have people showing that difference in depth by coming out from one level to another. So that is our link to the subway system, and what we're going to have on the other end of each of these platforms, all three, is a stairway up, and they're going to be linked by kind of a cross path, and that cross path is going to be the bit that links with our tram station, which is the monorail system with the tram on it that's already in place in our city above the road crossing. Great. And while we're here, I may as well put in our double-sided city station, being the name of this stop sign. They're using the stickers from the same set as the taxis, 60050. Oh, yes. That's looking great. So whoever's on a train on either track can see where they are. That's looking fantastic, isn't it? Right, so what else do we need? We need some departure boards. And I'm going to put departure boards on all three platforms. And for this one, just put a jumper plate down to take it. I'm going to have a double-sided one and a dual one with double-sided. So these again are using the stickers from 60050, a fantastic set for stickers. I actually looked at getting more of these stickers on Bricklink in case I needed them, and they've got ridiculously rare and expensive. When I bought these and this set was relatively new, I could get them kind of 50p a sheet, and now they're many, many times that price. So sadly, you may not be able to replicate this that easily. But essentially, it's hanging departure signs, just like the ones we've got inside the station. But as I say, double-sided, and one for each platform, even though they say the exact same information. And that could be mounted like that. And then on the far side platform, it'll only need one. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put it yet, but that will have one that is one-sided and will go like that. And then I do have one more for the station side itself. So I'll just plop that there for now. And while we're doing things on big posts, I thought the loudspeakers might not reach very well to the far side, so I just thought I'd add another loudspeaker with a red grill piece on the top on another similar pole, because I had one more left, for somewhere else on the far side, just to represent the loud hailer announcements being broadcast on that side as well. Then the last thing I have for now for stuff that's going to go on the platforms is this map of the whole network. And I've got two of those, so I'm going to build those into the back wall of this side. Obviously they're too low at the moment, but I'm going to do that so we've got lots of signs showing people where they are. Great. Now, when I started this series on the train station, I made it clear that this was going to be a kind of mashup of all the best elements of a load of nostalgic and historic Lego train station sets. And the Overpass is no exception. For that element, I'm going to use set 7937, which is also called Train Station, funnily enough, as the influence. And that had that lovely overpass linking the two platforms together. Well, in my case, I'm going to have three platforms, but I'm going to use a very similar system with these two flights of stairs with a sort of small stop halfway with some nice bright banisters, and these lovely 1x6x5 support pieces in white I think look really good. And because I'm going to be linking three platforms together, I'm going to have three sets. So if I just add that quite simply onto that side and that onto that side, you can see very much what's going to happen. I think that looks very grand indeed. I think the white and the red will fit very much with the train station we've already done and the colouring we've got without bringing too much yellow into the equation. And you'll notice there's a gap here at the back, and this, if the spacing's all right when we put it into the city, will match perfectly with the back wall of the tram stop, meaning that you'll go up here and be able to get onto the tram or off the tram straight onto this and choose the platform you need for your station. Or you can come down here and go to the main station building for a drink or a taxi, or down here maybe for access to the beach, or even down here for access to the subway system. So it's going to be a real transport hub. Yeah, so very simple and sort of plagiarizing an old Lego set as per usual, but I'm very happy with it. Now, a couple of things just to make that a little bit better. Got a couple of lights just to add to either side of the top bit. Okay, so that'll keep that lit. That's very good. And then I also want to add some platform numbers to the bits here, just because they're a great place to put some signs. So I've got these lovely 1x1 tiles in yellow with the number on. And I've managed to get 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I thought I'd clip them onto here. So this is platform number 4. And this is platform number 3. If I can get that on. There we are. Unfortunately, it's just miss the train, because the train is roughly 6 wide. And the gap here is 10. So hopefully there'll be still leaving a gap of 8, which should be big enough for even a cargo train to go through. And there's platform 1. So everyone will know very easily which platform they are on. Great, so there's another bit. Now, what I have to do, and I don't know if I've got room here on my desk, is link the station and its platform with the other 2 platforms and this lovely crosswalk. It's going to be a bit tricky, so I'm not sure if I'm going to manage it. And then I have to decide whether I'm going to tile all these platforms and steps. And one of the main deciding factors, I think, is my weird obsession with tread plates, stickers on tiles, these things. And I thought, well, would it not look really good if I tiled all of these steps and stairs with tread plate stickers? And I'll show you a close-up when I've done a fair number of them. Now, obviously I'm going to need a lot more of them, but because I'm a bit of a addict when it comes to these stickers for some unbeknownst reason, it won't take me long to get enough, I don't think. So you see something like that, and I just think that looks absolutely great. And if I had that on all 3 and on both flights of steps, then I could tile that area as well as all of my platforms. So I'm in a bit of a quandary whether to go ahead or not. So I think the best idea is to maybe continue this area that we've started onto a bit of platform and see how that section looks before expanding it and making that decision over the whole length. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'll appreciate your feedback on it. Right, so I suppose we need a before picture. So this is the platform we're familiar with, and here's the stairway being added here. I won't push it down too hard, but you'd have to imagine it without the tread plates, of course. So that is the platform without tiles. Okay, let's try some tiling. And here is the tile trial. So I've continued the grill pieces all the way along, just with every third one being yellow, of course. And then I've tried to mix up, rather than have the whole thing just like my pavements being completely light bluish grey, I've tried to add dark bluish grey lines around certain features. So I've only gone up to here, but I've got a dark grey line coming from that back pillar through the front pillar and round here, and would continue that along each of these seating areas. I've got one around this jumper plate, because that would be the one that would take our wonderful arrivals and departures board, and it could be a similar box around other features on other platforms. And then I've got another double width line around what is essentially the shop. And then we'd have our stairway as before. If I push that down, and you can see this is fully tread plated all the way up to the top. And I've got to say, it's looking pretty good. So it's kind of decision time. Well, one more thing I've done is I've added a row of sort of silvery coloured grille pieces on the step, so it isn't actually a greater step than it was before. We've got the light bluish grey, then we've got 2 studs worth of dark bluish grey, then up 2 more studs of dark bluish grey, then the grille line, and then the new layer. So it's not messing that up. Same with the shop. This layer is 1 lower than that, so there's a small step lip from the platform onto that red tile layer, and then 1 down yet further onto the slider piece that makes it all work. So yeah, I mean, I think it looks quite smart. Do tell me what you think. I'm not going to do all 3 platforms in case we decide not to go ahead, but I think I may finish this platform just so it's complete and you can make a good decision on that one. But I'm thinking especially around here where we've got the actual tread plates on all the steps, that it looks a lot better than bare plates. Now, don't worry about the cost. I've got most of these pieces already. It may slow me down in due course, but you know, the ad revenue can pay for some more tiles if it has to. It's not a huge amount, but it's not a huge amount of tiles either, so don't worry about it on cost basis. Right, I'm going to finish these. And before I do that, I said I was going to add a man up here. So I thought I would add this guy. He's realised he might be a bit late for his train, and he's got his ticket for the 9:28 in the morning. Obviously, his work starts a bit later than mine. Anyway, that's a really nice ticket piece, isn't it, from the Grand Central Station set, 4513, and a couple of other sets as well. But yeah, I really like that. So I've got a few of that, luckily, that I can have people holding ready to get on their train. And he's got his case as well. So I just thought I'd have him at the top of the stairs, realising he better get a shuffle on. Brilliant. Yeah. Right, so I've finished tiling platform 1. And this is the result. From right up there at the top, with the 2x4 tread plate, down those stairs, with a nice outline here, lots of places for waiting passengers to stand. The touch points still in place, and the newspaper thing, departures board, the seating still here but in these sort of grey boxes, and even the baggage area at the end, kind of as it was before, but very neatly encapsulated by tiling. So this is the final exhibit to decide whether we're going to do it over the whole thing or not. And my thinking is, yeah, let's do it. I've got tiling on my smaller station platform, and that's pretty much just grey and boring, but still looks good. And I think this may just cap it off, with the studs being on the inside, which sort of differentiates it from the nice platforms. So bear in mind this is going to be near some green grass and some ballasted track, which will be dark bluish grey, but mainly brown. So yeah, I think it will provide quite a good contrast. So there we go, looking good. So we've done quite a lot today. We've got our tiled platform in, a few amendments, the bar upstairs and the seating with these wonderful scenes, which I like very much. Nice cocktails, train spotter, and a man running for his train. We've got the steps going up here. We've got the steps for platforms 3 and 2. And we've got the steps for platform 4. Yep, it's getting a bit messy, isn't it? We need to get all these pieces up to the Lego room. But we've also, on top of that, got the platform 2 and 3 with our subway connection, our lovely sign and more departure boards. And then, which would also need tiling, platform 4. So we have done quite a lot today, and I think it's all the ingredients we need, barring the decision of whether to extend the tiling, to actually put this all in place in the Lego room. And I'm afraid that's what we're going to have to do in the final part of train station build. Sorry, no time today. This does take ages. So in the final part, next week, we'll be putting all this in place behind that row of modulars and right next to Fast Food Corner. And we'll have it looking absolutely smashing. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego videos. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be doing the usual brick haul on Wednesday, followed by a city update on Friday. And next Monday will be the final part of the train station build. See you then!